Oh, yes, video games and Christmas. Name a more iconic duo. Okay, point taken. But still, it's gotta be up there. And as a child, Christmas and video games were synonymous with each other. And as a man-child, this is still true. My parents knew my love of video games from an early age, so they did their best to make sure something gaming related awaited us under the Christmas tree. Today, I thought it'd be fun to reflect back on childhood Christmas memories with a gaming theme. My mom's work allowed her to lay away the latest consoles. The first console I remember her surprising us with was the Nintendo Gamecube. I remember turning the box around and just seeing all the games you could play on the back. The main reason I'm mentioning this is because this was a surprisingly profound moment in my life. Back during the 6th generation of gaming, PS2 was my console of choice. Yet, as an adult, I find myself being more nostalgic for the GameCube. And part of that is that Nintendo charm, no doubt. But the other part was the endless wonder the back of a box can do for a child. I mean, I remember flipping that over and seeing all the games that you could play on this machine. And to this day, I think that's one of the big reasons I like having my consoles in box, especially the ones that have little pictures of the games that are playable on the machine. And this Christmas made the GameCube feel like it was the greatest machine on earth, even if the little lunchbox would go on to become super underrated in my household. I'll do my dad's gift next. My dad loved going to flea markets, antique malls, and perusing Craigslist. He would often see gaming bundles for sale. And one year, he surprised us with a PS2 lot, and later on he'd do the same for the PS3. The PS2 lot had games like The Hobbit, Black and Bruised, which was a boxing game, Splashdown Rides Gone Wild, The Scorpion King, Yu Yu Hakusho, and maybe an Outlaw Golf. I remember a golf game being in the lot, I just don't remember which one it was. This was a pretty awesome a group of games. Splashdown was probably the game we played the most, as it's just a little silly arcade water skiing game made to the most ridiculous point, I guess. Hopefully I'm showing gameplay footage so you can see it now. It's a fun weekend kind of game. Now, the PS3, I can't remember really as well as I do the PS2 lot. However, it did have Heavenly Sword, and if you grew up during the PS3 kind of launch hype, you remember that Heavenly Sword was a game they showed off a lot to show off, look how many characters can be on the same screen. That was kind of its gimmick, and I fell for it, man. I really wanted to play this game. It kind of gave me Prince of Persia and Genji, the samurai game. It kind of felt like a combining of those games, so it just seemed awesome, or like an Ico or something. I remember the hype for this game back in the day being just so unreal. Now, the funny thing about Heavenly Sword and The Hobbit is I didn't get to play too much of them back in the day, but I enjoyed my time with both. So much so that when I grew up, I was determined to buy both of these games back. I played through the first 2 or so levels of The Hobbit, and I really enjoyed it. And while I haven't seen the movie or read the book, I do live with a 1-year-old, so I'm basically terrorized by a Hobbit every day if you think about it. Now, the other console my mom surprised me with back in the day was the Xbox 360. A console that would go on to consume my life for the next decade. And who would have guessed the profound impact this little console would have on me? It turned me into an achievement junkie. My cousin, who lives 10 hours away from me, we would grind through some of the most fun co-op games I've ever played in the form of Borderlands and Battle Block Theater. It provided some of the most engrossing single-player games such as BioShock and the Grand Theft Auto series. And my brother and I beat Halo 3 on the hardest difficulty back in the day. Now sure, the first couple did get the red ring of death. I think we all remember that if you grew up with an Xbox 360. But once my mom finally got that worked out, I've kept it ever since. I want to say I got the Xbox 360 around 7th grade or so. I entertained myself with games such as Perfect Dark Zero until I got those life-changing, big experience games like Fallout New Vegas and some of the other ones I've discussed today. And who could forget the countless amount of time we sank into Modern Warfare 2? I think I lost count of the amount of Mountain Dew that was consumed playing that game. I took this console to college my freshman year, after all, and had friends come over to watch me beat Red Dead Redemption and Bioshock Infinite. My wife and I even beat Resident Evil 5 on co-op with this bad boy. So just remember, if you ever think I'm a Nintendo fanboy, of which I am, I've probably put the most amount of time of any console into my Xbox 360. I doubt my mom knew how long that 360 would stay with me when she bought it for me, but I still have it even to this day. And that gets me to the final gift I want to talk about today. I had just gotten the Wii U for my birthday. This was probably Christmas of 2013. I knew what I wanted for Christmas too. I had big plans, you see. I wanted 3 games that year, and I wanted them bad. Wind Waker HD, the latest Madden, and Far Cry 4. Far Cry 3 was the talk of my high school, and I missed out on it. Far Cry 4 had just came out, and you could bet your bottom dollar I wasn't missing out on it this time around. Christmas Day starts. I make my way down the stairs, and I see 3 game case-shaped gifts. Bingo. She had done it. I opened the first gift, Wind Waker HD. Oh, we're off to a great start. Gift 2, that year's Madden. Man, I love it when a plan comes together. Now all that's left to do is open gift number 3. What? Nintendo Land? You better believe I confronted my mom. I said, Mom, how could you mess this up? I literally gave you the playbook and everything. And even though it's been 10 years, I'll never forget what she said to me. She said, I know you really, really, really wanted Far Cry 4, but Nintendo Land just looked like a game you'd like more. I had never been so defeated in my life. I could just picture the GameStop employees snickering amongst themselves because one of them had just won a bet with a coworker that he wouldn't be able to sell a copy of Nintendo Land. But you know what? Looking back on it, my mom was right. Nintendo Land is more my kind of game. Oh wait, I don't know that because I never got to play Far Cry 4. Thanks, Mom. All joking aside, I now love Nintendo Land. People hate on the Wii U, but I've yet to bust out 4-player Nintendo Land and everybody not have a great time. This story strengthened my love for the Wii U and my connection with it. I now go to bat for this game and say it's one of my favorites on the consoles. So there you have it. All the Christmas memories I wanted to discuss today. My parents knew how much I loved video games and made sure they did their darndest. That way I had something new to play waiting for me on Christmas. I probably didn't do a good job telling them back then, but I will always be grateful for those memories because they influenced me so much. Looking back, I know how hard they had to work to pull these things off for a couple of spoiled brats who didn't know how well they had it back then. As we know, video games are not cheap. I have a daughter now, and I can only hope I make half of her dreams come true the way my parents did for me. So this Christmas, be thankful for what you have in life because someone had to work very hard for you to have those things. But that's going to do it for me, guys, in this video. So tell me down below, what are some of your favorite Christmas gifts growing up? They can be video game or otherwise. Just be sure to leave something down below. Merry Christmas, guys. Have a good one.